You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
About 120 miles an hour.
Quicker than a Ferrari, smoother and quieter than the cushiest sedans. When it comes to performance, today's EVs embarrass gas-burning cars. They have instant torque, a low center of gravity, and unbelievable traction.
I am worried about what my face is going to look like when I see the footage on this.
High performance was crucial to selling EVs to the public.
It helped legitimize the idea of an EV as, like I say, something more than just a glorified golf cart.
But even though EVs surpass fuel-burning cars in power and speed, even though many proponents say they are better vehicles with a better driving experience, they're not selling anywhere nearly as well in the US as they are around the globe. After the federal credits ended, experts forecast struggle ahead.
The point has been made. Yes, EVs can be really, really fast. Now let's go back and think about, okay, what do we actually need?
CNBC drove 3 of them to see why and how EVs got so powerful and what insiders say they need to do to keep attracting customers.
I'm here at M1 Concourse in Pontiac, Michigan. I've been hearing a lot about how powerful EVs have become and some of the benefits and drawbacks of that. I wanted to look into it, so I talked to Sam Abu Al-Samid. He's an industry analyst, driver, and car guy that I speak to often. Here we've got the Kia EV6 GT-Line, the Porsche Macan 4S electric, and the Audi RS e-tron GT. 3 very different cars with very different prices and performance specs, but all of them are, compared with gas cars, significantly more powerful.
In the early days, the EV was seen as the green choice. Save fuel, save the planet.
Everybody knew that EVs were green, but nobody thought they were very exciting. You know, the EVs that we had prior to that, were kind of boring, really.
But along came Tesla, which, as Consumer Reports once put it, turned EVs from the vegetables you should eat to the dessert you desire. Performance was crucial to that pitch.
When Tesla brought out the Roadster, the reason why they did a sports car first was they wanted to demonstrate that an EV could be something far more than a glorified golf cart.
Alex Roy is a venture capitalist, racing driver, and writer who has driven across the country at high speed several times to break a record called the Cannonball Run. The first was in a BMW M5. Then he switched to EVs, doing 3 record-setting runs in Teslas, 2 in a Model S, 1 in a Model 3. Then he set the first record for a run using Tesla's full self-driving system. For Roy, the Model S is the car that really changed the EV landscape, and in some ways, Tesla is still unmatched.
There's no question that Tesla has what I call total narrative command of electric vehicles. They created the seminal product.
Following the Model S, many automakers came out with fast, luxurious electric vehicles, many of which on paper looked like high-tech muscle cars. Some have even argued that too many of them were basically toys for the rich.
There is something that's quite important to the future of sustainable energy, which is that we got to show that an electric car is the best car, hands down.
The initial part of any product is always the luxury product, right? Because there's a cost to develop the new technology. EVs have certainly suffered with that. So the models that have come out have been marketed to the affluent, and the feature that they want is speed and design and style and all that stuff.
Automakers added EVs to their high-performance lines. There are EV supercars and hypercars. There's an EV racing series in the style of Formula One. But mainstream EVs also have performance that could easily beat sports cars from a decade or 2 ago. Even pickup trucks, crossovers, and family SUVs, some of which are huge, can accelerate at scorching speeds. The 9,000-plus pound GMC Hummer EV does 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds.
This Porsche Macan 4S electric is a 4-door crossover, and yet it goes 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, which is as quick as a 911 Carrera and quicker than 3 other 911 versions.
About a third of Macan sales so far since the new generation Macan launched with the EV are electric. It's got a pretty high penetration of EV buyers. For someone who's a little bit more affluent, can afford something a little more than a Kia, and wants a little more performance, and wants some of that Porsche character.
Go just a bit further down market and you can still find a pretty capable EV. This Kia starts at about $59,000, roughly $9,000 more than the average car price in the US. The base model is a bit cheaper, just under $43K. It's the least expensive EV here, but still, Car and Driver got this to 60 miles per hour in about 4.5 seconds.
So out of all the cars today, this would be the most mainstream vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the kind of car that most people buy. If you look at the US market, the two biggest segments are these kinds of compact and mid-size crossovers and full-size trucks.
Okay, and in terms of performance and drive, like how does it compare with its closest gas counterpart?
It's substantially faster.
Whether or not cars like the EV6 have been successful depends on how you measure. Kia's electric vehicle sales have fallen through the third quarter compared with 2024. The Hyundai Ioniq 5, which shares this car's underpinnings, is so far selling more than 3 times as many in the US. But again, if you lump all of Hyundai Motor Group's EVs together, it would be the third best-selling EV portfolio in the country. It has been said that when EVs were just entering the marketplace in meaningful numbers, improvements to internal combustion engines were already ushering in a new golden age of performance. But electric power brought a mind-boggling jump. 0 to 60 times well below 2 seconds, quicker than the quickest gas cars, top speeds of more than 300 miles per hour.
Even the low end of EVs will perform as good as the high end of gas cars without the need to spend more money on making it happen. And then with a little bit of upgrade, you get a very, very fast acceleration. It's a nice sales pitch.
This is thanks to a few inherent advantages.
With an engine, when you step on the accelerator pedal, you got to wait for the engine to rev up and to start building some torque and power before you start to get some acceleration. So when you're sitting at a red light or a stop sign and then you go to step on the accelerator to go, you feel a little bit of lag.
But an electric motor, the maximum torque is there from rest. The response when you press on the throttle is like, whoa, and that's fun.
This is where you start getting these 0 to 60 acceleration times. Model S Plaid, Lucid Air Sapphire, Rimac Nevera, and the McMurtry Sperling. Or this car, the Audi RS e-tron GT. Built on the same platform as the Porsche Taycan, this is Audi's quickest production model ever.
Here we go. Buckle up.
Let's get into RS mode here.
I'm almost nervous.
Is that quick enough for you?
Oh, wow.
So EVs can outrun a gas car, and they are quicker off the line. In addition, they usually have lower maintenance costs, and charging them can be a lot cheaper than filling a tank, especially if you do it at home.
What the industry has proved so far is that absolutely an EV can be as good or better than anything else on the road, certainly compared to any combustion vehicle.
It's just a superior technology.
But sales tell a different story. Only about a month after the federal credits were rolled back, EV sales data show a sharp decline, and automakers that once promised all-electric futures are pulling back on EV production and ramping up gas and hybrids.
To really move the needle now, to really grow the appeal of EVs, you need to start addressing, okay, what are the other issues that, especially for the mainstream market?
Surveys say the same thing: charger availability, charging time, range, and price. And these are pricey vehicles. And it's not just six-figure Audis and Porsches. On average, EVs already sell for about $9,000 more than the already high overall new car price.
The average age of a car on the road continues to go up. Now it's like around 12 years. You're seeing these loans that are $1,000 a month to pay and are 10 years. It feels not sustainable.
I think that the concept for the American automakers was trickle down. They looked at what Tesla did and they're like, okay, rich people will buy these, right? So we'll make these luxury vehicles on the high end. They pay a little extra.
Relying on higher-end vehicles to carry EV portfolios has its limits.
I love that instant torque, but the minute you hit a corner, it's like an an American muscle car. It just does not corner the way that it should.
The Taycan got off to a good start, but then dropped off pretty rapidly. This has been one of the challenges, especially in the high-end EV market. Customers buying some of these cars actually decided they like the feel of the gas engines better. With traditional performance cars, you have the sound, you have the vibration of the engine, and that's part of what gives a performance car its character. If you've ever been in a 911, that flat 6-cylinder engine in the back, that has a very unique sound that is quite unlike anything else out there. This obviously does not have that.
Attempts to simulate this haven't landed all that well.
That's not going to work because everyone knows it's fake. Therefore, you're making the owner of the electric sports car look even more pathetic.
There are other downsides. Gas cars, for now at least, are better at maintaining high speeds over longer distances. EVs have less stamina. Because they are heavier, they also wear out their tires faster. But the biggest obstacles to EV adoption are still charger availability, charging time, and range anxiety.
Americans die for our 2% use case. Maybe we only take 2 road trips a year, but what we buy has to be able to go on those road trips.
Roy's Cannonball runs are extreme examples of this. High speed across extremely long distances.
The thing about an internal combustion record is your cruising speeds are between 120 and 150 miles an hour for more than 24 hours. And that is challenging. And it's scary because at those speeds, if you pop a tire, people can get hurt. In an electric car, your average cruising speeds are in the 70s. You're often driving slower than the traffic. So it's not scary at all. What is really scary is spending a day and a half in a car and having a software problem at the charger, and you've lost 4 days of your life planning and driving and having to go back and do it all over again. And unfortunately, that happens all the time, unless you're using Tesla superchargers.
Charging infrastructure is improving, and there are signs that the technology exists to charge EVs in as little as 5 minutes.
Electric cars have a long way to go before they start being competitive with gas cars. But the rate of improvement of electric vehicles and the charging networks is incredible.
There is one key difference between legacy automakers and pure EV companies like Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, as well as the increasingly dominant Chinese automakers. The latter have been able to design EVs from a blank sheet and have built them to be rolling computers with centralized hardware and constantly updated software.
That's going to be the next battleground for EV domination on the consumer side.
And with sales struggling, insiders say most of the challenges EVs face can be overcome with innovation. For some companies, the stakes are just too high.
It's existential for them. Like for a company like Rivian or even like Tesla, that's all they know and that's all they need to do. And they are the ones who are going to push the boundaries of innovation and keep going down that cost curve. And the ones that are going to fight it are doing it to maybe protect their cash flows in the short term, with their gasoline portfolio.
At the same time, even die-hard drivers and car enthusiasts like Abu El-Samid say EVs have taken straight-line performance about as far as it needs to go.
Where do we stop? Certainly some people want that performance, and that's fine. Do we need that? Probably not, especially given the state of driver training, especially in the United States.
If I get my kid an EV that's affordable, we don't have to pay for gas, it's fine. But the reality is kids can't handle that type of instant torque, particularly in a vehicle that will not corner well.
Indeed, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, a driving safety and crash testing group funded by the insurance industry, has warned about the risks posed by the heavier weight and quick acceleration of EVs. To be fair, lots of gas-burning cars accelerate quickly enough to be plenty dangerous, and large, heavy vehicles are quite popular with Americans, regardless of what they run on. But heavier weight and quicker acceleration pose greater danger to pedestrians, bicyclists, and people in lighter cars. This isn't exhaustive, but some data indicates insurance losses are not necessarily any greater for EVs than for gas cars. The damage losses per claim are just a bit worse, but there are fewer claims. EVs overall perform well in the group's crash tests, and several earned its coveted IIHS Top Safety Pick designations. Roy argues that the real opportunity is to leverage all the tech in EVs to make them safer for people outside the vehicle.
The optimal solution would be to build driver education into the car, which is it won't accelerate as much as it can until you've demonstrated that you know how to drive.
All of the sensor hardware increasingly on EVs, camera, radar, and other tech can see things drivers might not notice.
The car can ultimately judge whether or not the driver is reacting to things like strollers and kids. And if you are, then the car should unlock the extra acceleration. But if you're not, it should reduce it. And this is such an obvious feature that no one is deploying that it makes me weep for the future of automotive innovation.
We've proven that EVs can do the job, and now we just have to keep making it better and more affordable so that more people will be inclined to adopt them.
The next leg of the electrification race: make EVs easy enough to live with, affordable to own, and smart enough to manage their immense power responsibly.